Have you ever heard of someone having a stroke just after taking a shower? Let me tell you a story that might change the way you think about your daily routine. It was a peaceful Sunday morning. Margaret, a 72-year-old retired librarian from Michigan, had just finished her usual warm shower. She felt a little dizzy but assumed it was just the steam. Moments later, she collapsed. Her husband, hearing the thud, rushed in to find her unconscious on the bathroom floor. At the hospital, the doctors initially suspected a fall-related concussion. But what they discovered shocked even them. Margaret had suffered a mini-stroke caused by a sudden drop in blood pressure after her shower. This phenomenon, though rarely discussed, is more common than you'd think. Known medically as transient ischemic attacks or mini-strokes, these events occur when there's a temporary blockage of blood flow to the brain. The symptoms may only last a few minutes. But they are red flags that a major stroke may be looming. As we age, our heart health after 60 becomes more vulnerable to subtle yet dangerous triggers, like sudden temperature changes or standing up quickly after bathing. In fact, doctors now acknowledge a link between hot water and stroke risk, especially in seniors with a history of high blood pressure or cardiovascular issues. And here's the alarming part. Many of these cases go unreported or are mistaken for fatigue, low blood sugar, or just a bad day. But every ignored symptom is a missed chance to prevent disaster. So let me ask you something. Have you or someone you love ever felt lightheaded or weak after showering? Drop a comment below. You are not alone, and your story might help others become more aware. In today's video, we'll dive into this underreported danger. Why do mini-strokes often strike during or after a shower? What signs should you never ignore? And what are the life-saving steps you can take to reduce your stroke risk starting today? If you're over 60, or care for someone who is, this information could be life-saving. Stick with me through this video. It might just change the way you see your bathroom routine forever. Let's uncover the truth, before it's too late. Have you ever heard of someone having a stroke just after taking a shower? Let me tell you a story that might change the way you think about your daily routine. It was a peaceful Sunday morning. Margaret, a 72-year-old retired librarian from Michigan, had just finished her usual warm shower. She felt a little dizzy but assumed it was just the steam. Moments later, she collapsed. Her husband, hearing the thud, rushed in to find her unconscious on the bathroom floor. At the hospital, the doctors initially suspected a fall-related concussion. But what they discovered shocked even them. Margaret had suffered a mini-stroke caused by a sudden drop in blood pressure after her shower. This phenomenon, though rarely discussed, is more common than you'd think. Known medically as transient ischemic attacks or mini-strokes, these events occur when there's a temporary blockage of blood flow to the brain. The symptoms may only last a few minutes. But they are red flags that a major stroke may be looming. As we age, our heart health after 60 becomes more vulnerable to subtle yet dangerous triggers, like sudden temperature changes or standing up quickly after bathing. In fact, doctors now acknowledge a link between hot water and stroke risk, especially in seniors with a history of high blood pressure or cardiovascular issues. And here's the alarming part. Many of these cases go unreported or are mistaken for fatigue, low blood sugar, or just a bad day. But every ignored symptom is a missed chance to prevent disaster. So let me ask you something. Have you or someone you love ever felt lightheaded or weak after showering? Drop a comment below. You are not alone, and your story might help others become more aware. In today's video, we'll dive into this underreported danger. Why do mini-strokes often strike during or after a shower? What signs should you never ignore? And what are the life-saving steps you can take to reduce your stroke risk starting today? If you're over 60, or care for someone who is, this information could be life-saving. Stick with me through this video. It might just change the way you see your bathroom routine forever. Let's uncover the truth, before it's too late. First, monitor your blood pressure, especially after heat exposure like bathing. The best blood pressure monitor for elderly individuals is one that tracks patterns, not just one-time readings. Keep a log. Look for unusual drops or spikes, especially around routines like showering or exercising. Second, hydrate well. Dehydration thickens the blood and can raise your stroke risk. Third, if you notice any stroke symptoms, even if they vanish within minutes, report them. It could be the key that prevents a larger health crisis. And if you've made it this far in the video, I want you to drop a comment below. I'm watching out for mini strokes. Let's help others pay closer attention. Stick with me, because in the next part, we'll explore 8 subtle signs of mini strokes that often strike in everyday settings. And believe me, you won't want to miss the one about hallucinations. It's more common than you think. Now, let's dive deep into the 8 subtle signs of a mini stroke that often go unnoticed, yet could be the difference between life and tragedy. If you or a loved one is over 60, pay very close attention. 1. Dizziness or sudden loss of balance. It often begins subtly. A moment of lightheadedness, a step that feels off, or even a stumble. These may seem like age catching up, but they could indicate a temporary reduction in blood flow to the brain. The transient ischemic attack, or TIA, frequently affects the cerebellum, responsible for coordination and balance. If you notice this while walking, bending, or especially after standing from a seated position, don't ignore it. 2. Numbness in the face or limbs, especially on one side. This is one of the most classic stroke symptoms. The numbness might be mild, just a tingling or a strange weakness. But here's the trick, many seniors chalk it up to arthritis or sleeping in the wrong position. If it appears suddenly, even for just a few minutes, it's time to act. You could be experiencing the first wave of a mini stroke. 3. Trouble speaking or understanding words. Have you ever felt like your mouth can't catch up to your brain? Slurred speech, difficulty finding words, or speaking gibberish, even if it clears up in minutes, is a red flag. It might be aphasia, caused by a TIA impacting the language center of the brain. Seniors often dismiss this as being tired or forgetful, but it's a huge warning sign. 4. Vision problems. Blurred vision, double vision, or temporary loss of sight in one eye may feel like an eye issue, but it's often neurological. The optic nerve and visual cortex are highly sensitive to oxygen deprivation. One of our community members, Margaret, 72, shared that she lost vision in her left eye for just 10 minutes. She thought it was dryness. A week later, she had a mini stroke. Her story might just save someone today. 5. Severe headaches, unlike any you've had before. Many people experience headaches, but what sets a stroke-related one apart is the sudden intensity. A feeling like a bolt of lightning or pressure building behind the eyes. This is especially dangerous for those with high blood pressure or a history of migraines. If your headache feels different, don't wait, get checked. 6. Fainting or feeling like you're about to pass out. Also known as syncope, this happens when blood flow to the brain is briefly interrupted. You might recover in seconds, but that drop in consciousness is a bright red flag. It's one of the signs doctors often ask about when screening for silent strokes. 7. Sudden confusion or trouble focusing. A mini stroke can momentarily disrupt how your brain processes information. You might forget where you put your keys, or worse, forget what day it is, or where you are. These moments of confusion are often brushed off as aging. But if they appear out of nowhere, it's time to see a neurologist near me. 8. Hallucinations or seeing things that aren't there. This might surprise you, but some seniors report brief hallucinations before or after a mini stroke. It's connected to disrupted activity in the visual and memory centers of the brain. If you or a loved one starts seeing things, don't panic, but don't ignore it either. It may be an early sign of vascular dementia linked to stroke activity. Let me pause for a moment and say this: if any of these symptoms feel familiar, if you've ever said, "I just need to lie down," after experiencing one, drop a comment below with, "I won't ignore the signs." Your voice might inspire someone else to take action. And if you're finding this helpful, don't forget to like this video so more people can discover these life-saving insights. Also, remember the fast stroke test. F for face, ask the person to smile, does one side droop? A for arms, can they raise both arms evenly? S for speech, is their speech slurred or strange? T for time. Call 911 immediately if you notice these signs. Even though we're talking about mini strokes, the fast test still applies. TIAs are medical emergencies. And thanks to modern medicine, tools like CT scans and MRIs for stroke can detect early signs that were previously missed. In the next segment, we'll look at lifestyle changes that drastically reduce your stroke risk, and they're easier than you think. Stick with me. What you learn next could be what protects your brain for years to come. Let's talk now about 5 lifestyle factors that silently increase the risk of a mini stroke, especially in adults after 60. These are daily habits that seem harmless but slowly elevate your risk of a transient ischemic attack without you even knowing it. 1. Sedentary lifestyle. Sitting is the new smoking. You might not think twice about spending a few hours each day on the couch, especially in retirement. But did you know that long periods of physical inactivity are directly linked to poor heart health and an increased risk of blood clots? Movement keeps blood flowing properly, prevents plaque buildup in your arteries, and improves brain circulation. The CDC recommends at least 150 minutes of moderate physical activity per week for older adults. That's just a brisk 30-minute walk 5 days a week. It could literally save your life. Inactivity contributes to high blood pressure, weight gain, and carotid artery blockage, all risk factors for stroke. So, even a daily habit of gardening or walking your dog can make a world of difference. Let me ask, how many hours a day are you sitting? Drop your number in the comments. Let's hold each other accountable. 2. Poor nutrition and excess sodium. A diet high in processed foods, saturated fats, and sodium can quietly create the perfect storm inside your body. Excess sodium increases blood pressure, which weakens your arteries over time. It's also directly linked to increased stroke symptoms in older adults. But the danger isn't always obvious. Many seniors think they're eating healthy enough, while their meals are loaded with hidden salt in canned soups, deli meats, and dressings. To combat this, aim for a Mediterranean-style diet, rich in leafy greens, berries, fatty fish, and nuts. These not only support brain health but also help prevent the plaque buildup that can trigger a transient ischemic attack. For those managing vascular dementia or recovering from a stroke, cognitive therapy post-stroke, combined with proper nutrition, becomes even more critical. 3. Unmanaged stress and poor sleep. Chronic stress is like a slow, invisible poison. It raises blood pressure, encourages poor eating habits, and increases cortisol levels, which in turn affect your cardiovascular system. Many seniors underestimate the toll that stress takes on the body. Sleep plays a vital role here, too. Insufficient or poor quality sleep raises the risk of stroke significantly. In fact, sleep apnea, a common condition among older adults, is one of the hidden contributors to silent strokes. If you're waking up tired, feeling anxious, or having difficulty falling asleep, it's time to make changes. Whether it's mindfulness, gentle yoga, or simply having a structured nighttime routine, addressing stress and sleep could be the missing piece in your health puzzle. Comment below with your favorite way to relax. Let's share some helpful stress-busting tips with each other. 4. Ignoring routine medical checkups. How long has it been since you had your blood pressure checked or your cholesterol levels reviewed? Neglecting routine health screenings is like driving a car with the warning lights on and choosing not to look. Many mini strokes occur in individuals who had no idea they were at risk. That's because hypertension, carotid artery disease, and atrial fibrillation often show no symptoms until it's too late. Annual visits to your doctor, getting a CT scan for stroke or a brain MRI interpretation, and checking your heart rhythm can uncover issues early. If you're worried about costs, look into Medicare stroke coverage or private stroke clinics. many offer free screenings or consultations. Prevention is always cheaper, and less painful, than treatment. 5. Smoking and excessive alcohol use. This one might seem obvious, but it's worth repeating. Smoking narrows the arteries, makes blood more likely to clot, and doubles your risk of stroke. Combined with alcohol, especially in large quantities, it raises blood pressure, increases inflammation, and damages your brain's blood vessels. Here's something you might not know: even moderate alcohol use, 1 to 2 drinks a day, has been linked to microbleeds in the brain, especially in adults over 60. These microbleeds can set the stage for both mini-strokes and major strokes. If quitting feels overwhelming, seek support from your physician or local support groups. There's no shame in needing help. In fact, it might be the bravest thing you do this year. Let's recap quickly with this checklist. Are you physically active for at least 30 minutes a day? Are you watching your sodium intake and choosing whole foods? Are you managing stress and sleeping 7 to 8 hours a night? Are you up to date with your checkups and screenings? Are you free from tobacco and excessive alcohol? If you answered no to any of those questions, that's okay. You're not alone. But now is the time to take action. If this segment has opened your eyes to habits you may need to change, hit the like button. That one simple gesture helps more people find this message, and it might just save someone's life. Coming up next, we'll talk about stroke treatment options and rehabilitation for seniors, what to do after a mini-stroke, and how to recover effectively. This is crucial, so stay with me until the end. So you've experienced, or suspect you've experienced, a mini-stroke, also known as a transient ischemic attack, TIA. What now? What should you expect next, and more importantly, what should you do to prevent it from turning into something far more dangerous? Let's start with this: a mini-stroke is not a small problem. It's a loud whisper from your body saying, something's wrong. Fix it now before it's too late. In fact, statistics show that 1 in 3 people who suffer a TIA will have a full stroke within a year, and nearly 20% within just 90 days. So, the clock is ticking, but there's also hope. Here's exactly what to do after a mini-stroke, to protect your brain health, improve your heart health, and give yourself the best chance at full recovery and prevention. 1. Immediate medical evaluation. Don't wait. Act fast. The first and most important step is to seek a neurologist near you or go to the emergency room, even if your symptoms have disappeared. Mini-strokes often resolve within minutes, but the risk of a major stroke is highest in the days immediately after. You'll likely undergo imaging tests like a CT scan for stroke, or a brain MRI interpretation, to check for any underlying carotid artery blockage, bleeding, or brain damage. Your doctors will also evaluate your blood pressure, heart rhythm, especially for atrial fibrillation, and cholesterol levels. Early diagnosis can lead to early treatment, and that could mean the difference between life and lifelong disability. 2. Medication and prevention plans. Stay compliant, stay safe. After a TIA, your doctor may prescribe antiplatelet drugs, blood pressure medication, or cholesterol-lowering drugs depending on your risk profile. Some seniors may also be advised to take aspirin alternatives for seniors, especially those at higher risk of bleeding. In certain cases, procedures like a carotid endarterectomy might be necessary to remove arterial plaque. Be sure to review your Medicare stroke coverage or insurance plan so you're not blindsided by costs. Many seniors skip medication or treatment because of affordability, but delaying can be fatal. Now is also a good time to invest in home care after stroke services, especially if you live alone. A nurse, physical therapist, or even a caregiver can help track your progress and ensure safety. 3. Stroke rehabilitation for seniors. The real work begins now. One of the most overlooked parts of stroke recovery in elderly patients is rehabilitation. Many people think that if their symptoms disappear after a TIA, they're back to normal. But here's the truth. TIAs can cause subtle cognitive or motor impairments that may not be obvious right away. That's why programs like cognitive therapy post-stroke, balance therapy for seniors, and speech therapy are so critical. Whether you go to a rehab center, use private stroke clinics, or follow a home-based plan, what matters is consistency. Regular therapy helps the brain rewire itself, regain lost function, and prevent future attacks. And let's be honest, if you're over 60, your recovery isn't just about you. It's about staying healthy for the people who love and depend on you. 4. Lifestyle transformation, your second chance at life. A mini-stroke is a gift in disguise, a chance to fix your lifestyle before it's too late. So take it seriously. Let's revisit the risk factors. High blood pressure. High cholesterol. Smoking and alcohol. Obesity. Sedentary lifestyle. Uncontrolled diabetes. Stress. The good news? All of these are manageable. And every improvement you make, no matter how small, adds up. Start simple, get a blood pressure monitor for the elderly and check your numbers daily. Switch to whole grains. Walk for 15 minutes a day. Join a senior wellness group, in person or online. Even small actions like drinking more water or swapping soda for tea help. If you've already made a change that worked for you, leave a comment below. Let's share real wins with each other. You never know who you might inspire today. 5. Emotional healing and support, you are not alone. Let's not forget the emotional toll of a TIA. It's scary. It can feel like a wake-up call you weren't ready for. Many seniors report feeling anxious, depressed, or constantly worried after a mini-stroke. That's completely normal. But don't keep it bottled up. Talk to your doctor, join a stroke survivors group, or even consider therapy. Sharing your story can be healing. And being part of a supportive community can reduce isolation, which, believe it or not, is a hidden risk factor for further decline. And here's something powerful. When you talk about your experience, you're not just helping yourself, you're educating someone else who might be on the verge of the same crisis. Let's bring it all home. A mini-stroke is not a warning. It's a lifeline. If you're watching this and thinking, that sounds like what happened to me, don't delay. Call your doctor. Share this video with a family member. And most importantly, commit today to doing one thing that protects your future self. If this video helped you or someone you love, click the like button and subscribe to Senior Health Stories. It's the simplest way to make sure this message reaches more people who need it. And now, let's continue our journey with the next video, where we explore the best foods for stroke prevention, nutrients that keep your brain and heart thriving. Stay tuned, and stay healthy.